welcome to another Warhammer 40k Morning Glory video. In today's episode, I will be introducing you to a weapon so fearsome that the Imperium barely dares utter its name. So heinous that even Slaanesh considers it too degenerate. A weapon truly to surpass Metal Gear, and one that exclusively runs on potato skins. I am, of course, talking about the Ogryn Bang Bus. That's right, it's time for another classic Mordian Glory quick tip Tactica. And so without further ado, with our pneumatic sentinel butt plugs in place, let us dive into the murky depths of the Imperial Guard Index. But what is the Ogryn Bang Bus? Do you even want to know? Probably not, but we're going to find out one way or another. To get this whole thing started, you are, of course, going to need some Ogryn. Now, Ogryn are a unit I've covered recently, and I think they're a bit of a sleeper. And the more I look at them, the more I use them, the more impressed I am with the unit. Each Ogryn comes armed with a Ripper gun, and that's really the main topic of today. We're looking at the Ripper gun, and we're really going to see what we can get out of it. Now, as standard, the Ripper gun hits on a 4+. It's got an 18-inch range, and it is 3 shots, strength 5, AP -1, 2 damage. But if you get it in half range, its rapid fire kicks in, and suddenly it is a 6-shot heavy bolter. But it's actually better than a lot of other infantry mounted heavy bolters because they hit on 5s, and then they have the heavy rule, so they stay still, then they hit on 4s. But with the Ogryns, they just hit on 4s, and there's no heavy or anything involved. So they're just running around, having a great time, just blasting away. The only real issue with Ogryn is that they can't receive orders from an infantry officer. So you're going to need someone like the Lord Solar to boss them around and to get them hitting on 3s with orders like take aim. But the Lord Solar's orders are in high demand. There's all sorts of units that are going to want his special attention. And so often what you find when you run Ogryn is that you actually end up passing them over and you give those orders out to other units like your tanks. And so your poor, lovable big boys who have a lot to offer and a huge amount of firepower, even just 3 of them in rapid fire range will do 18 shots. You get 6 of them, they're doing 36 shots. They can really lay down the dagger, but naturally you just feel more inclined to give it to your tanks. But what if we could order the Ogryns to have take aim and also order our big valuable tanks at the same time? What if we could kill 2 birds with 1 stone? Well, this is where the Ogryn Bang Bus comes in. Enter, left of stage, everyone's favorite Dakamobile, the Stormlord. Now, in the past, Stormlord hasn't really been a very viable super heavy. It's always been too expensive because GW has put a premium on transport capacity. But apparently, in 10th edition, that's not such a big deal anymore. And in fact, Stormlord is one of the cheaper ones, coming in at 460 points. I think, off the top of my head, only the Shadow Sword is cheaper than that at 440. Now, on its own, the Stormlord is packing some serious heat. It comes equipped with 2 heavy stubbers, 2 las cannons, a twin heavy bolter, 2 twin heavy flamers, and a Vulcan mega bolter. And you can swap out those 2 twin heavy flamers for 2 twin heavy bolters, which you're gonna do. And on top of that, you can take another 2 twin heavy bolters and 2 las cannons for the low price of 3. Meaning that off the bat, this thing is coming with a Vulcan mega bolter, 4 las cannons, 2 heavy stubbers, and 5 twin heavy bolters. So that is 20 shots from the Vulcan Mega Bolter at strength 6, AP -1, 2 damage. And then it's another 15 shots coming from the heavy bolters at strength 5, AP -1, 2 damage. And then you've got the las cannons and you've got the heavy stubbers. And don't forget, those heavy bolters are twin linked as well. So lots and lots of wounding potential. In fact, when you get within an 18-inch range and those heavy stubbers start getting rapid fire 3, you are looking at 51 shots from the Stormlord alone. But that's not enough. Those are rookie numbers. We gotta pump those numbers up. And we do that by loading the Ogryn on board. You see, it is not merely firepower that the Stormlord is bringing in bucket loads. It's also a very generous transport capacity and firing deck. The Stormlord can carry 40 Astra Militarum infantry models, with Ogryn taking up 3 of them, meaning in total you can fit 13 Ogryn on board your Stormlord. And the best bit is that it has a firing deck of 24, meaning that all 13 of those Ogryn can shoot out of the top. This means if you cram your Stormlord full of Ogryn and you get it within 18-inch range of the enemy, and those Ogryn can fire, in total your Stormlord is going to be putting out 90 shots, the vast majority of which are damage to AP -1. And if you get within 9-inch range, what I like to call the money shot, you will get 129 shots from this vehicle, nearly every single one of which is going to be that sweet damage too. But wait, there's more! Because not only is the Stormlord going to get +1 to hit when you give it the take aim order, all those heavy bolters and Vulcan mega bolters, all of that is going to get +1 to hit. But because of the wording on the firing deck rule, which basically states that when the occupants are shooting out of the top, it's actually the vehicle that counts as being equipped with the weapons, all of those Ripper guns are also going to get +1 to hit. And you could combine this with something like a Scout Sentinel, and suddenly all 129 of those shots are hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s. I don't mean to alarm anyone, but even the Orcs would consider that enough Dakka. There is, however, just one tiny problem with the tactic, which is that it is eye-wateringly expensive, both in money and in-game points. Because to take a Stormlord and cram it full of Ogryn is going to cost you 785 points. Now, I would point out that that isn't even half of your list. The amount of firepower you're getting, maybe it justifies such a price tag, but I know that it's going to put a lot of people off. If you're absolutely mad, you could take 2 of these things. Sure, you're going to run out of Ogryn because you can only take a maximum of 18, 3 squads of 6, but you could make up the difference with 3 squads of heavy bolter guys. Look, it's possible for you to get 2 bang buses, is what I'm saying, okay? You can do it, but it is going to cost you over 500 points. So, what is the solution? If the bang bus is too pricey for you, some people won't be bothered. They'll think it's absolutely hilarious. They'll want to take it. They'll try it out. And hey, who knows? Maybe it's actually competitive. But for those of you who are a little bit more risk averse, for those of you that don't want a singular bang bus, then let me introduce you to the flotilla of Ogryn fake taxis. That's right, it's a 2-for-1 special this episode. You're getting 2 quick tip tacticas in a single episode. Who says you don't get looked after on the Mordiang Glory channel? But what is the Ogryn fake taxi? Why is it actually way more viable? And if I can be serious for a moment, possibly genuinely competitive. Essentially, it's a smaller version of the bang bus. Rather than taking something expensive like a Stormlord, instead you look at something like a Chimera. This is only going to come in at 85 points. Now, the Chimera has a transport capacity of 12, but you're only going to put 3 Ogryns inside of it because only 2 of those Ogryns can shoot out the top, and the minimum squad size of Ogryn is 3. Hey, if you could just take 2 Ogryn, that would be fine, but you have to take 3, so we're taking 3. Now, when you start adding up the numbers here, it's actually a surprising amount of Dakka. Your Chimera has 2 heavy bolters on it. That's 6 shots. You then have the heavy stubber in rapid fire range. That's another 6 shots, bringing you up to 12. You've then got the las gunner rate, which within 12-inch range, rapid fire, get you another 12 shots. So now you're up to 24 shots. And you've got the hunter killer missile on top of that. And then you've got the 2 Ogryns, which can shoot their 6 shots each within 9 inches. So in total, a Chimera can put out 42 shots turn with an extra extra shot when you take into account the one-shot hunter-killer missile. Now, what's really cool is, once again, because of the fire deck rule, when you order the Chimera, it's going to get +1 to hit, and the Ogryn shooting out will also get +1 to hit, so everything's hitting on 3s, and you're still getting 18 damage to shots. In both the examples so far, by the way, I should note, I've not even taken into account the sustained hits, which will add even more damage to onto this, but we'll leave those out just for the time being. What's really good about the fake taxi, though, is that it's cheap. It's only 160 points to do it, and you can take one of them, 2 of them, or 3 of them, however many you want to fit in your army. Maybe you just want to take the one, essentially have it as a cheap Dakka tank. 160 points is still cheaper than something like a Lemurus Punisher, and yet you're getting just as much firepower out of this thing, if not a lot more. And what I also like about this is that if the Chimera dies, then you jump out with the 3 Ogryn. And those 3 Ogrins now still fire 18 damage to shots. So when the Chimera and the Ogryn are alive, you're getting 18 damage to shots. When they jump out, you don't actually lose any of your significant firepower, because that 3rd Ogryn can finally unleash because you're not restricted by the firing deck anymore. But before we go too far down a tangent, I actually want to pull us back around to the points cost, because I think this is really the main advantage of taking Ogryn fake taxis over the bang bus. Because if you take 3 of these things, you're going to end up with 129 shots, including the hunter-killer missiles. And many of those shots are still going to be damaged too. And you're still keeping up that volume of fire, yet it's only costing you 480 points. It's 305 points cheaper. Now, sure, you are not getting those las cannons, and sure, a lot of those shots you're getting are not damaged too, but purely from the volume perspective, you're keeping up. And what's really important about this is it's less eggs in one basket. If the bang bus gets taken out, you're losing a lot of points, using a lot of firepower, and the Ogryns will still be able to shoot, but, you know, it's costing you a huge chunk of points. If you lose 1 Chimera, you don't lose that much firepower, and you've still got 2 more. So there's a lot less risk involved, and you're getting almost all of the perks for many, many less disadvantages. Call me crazy, lambast me, but I can't help but think that this is a genuine tactic. This actually could work, because for less than 25% of your list, for less than a quarter of your list, you can take 3 of these Dakka Chimeras, and they can all spearhead onto one objective, and I think they'll genuinely be able to take it. There's enough firepower there to clear off any sort of infantry threat, and enough damage there, and also, when you get there, you've got durability, so you can hold that objective. And what's one thing that guard always struggles with? Close combat. Well, you know what? I think 9 Ogryns barreling out of those Chimeras and getting stuck in, there's even more potential there. So I really think that the bang bus is a fun idea, and definitely something that I'd love to try out just for the experience. Wow, this does not sound great. We're talking about Warhammer here, guys, but I think that the Ogryn fake taxi is genuinely more competitive. I think it's less points intensive, and it actually has some potential. Not to over egg the pudding or really labor the point, but just looking at it purely from a damage dealing perspective, it seems to me much better to invest in the Dakka Chimeras with Ogryns than to invest in something like a Leman Russ. Leman Russes are more expensive, and they don't have any objective capability, they don't have any close combat capability, and when one dies, it's gone. But again, with the Chimera, when it dies, you actually don't lose any real firepower. You're losing a few lasguns and a stubber, who cares about that? So it's like Russian nesting dolls. You have to almost kill the fake taxi twice. You have to kill the taxi, and then you have to kill the guys inside, which means your opponent's got to put even more firepower into it. So it's actually surprisingly durable. You might think that the Chimera is not as durable as the Rust, but when you take into account that the guys inside are just as threatening and also need to be dealt with, I would argue that there's more wounds there, there's feel no pains involved, at the very least, Fake Taxi is as durable as Lehman Russ. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Are you a fan of the Bang Bus, or do you think that the Fake Taxi is better? And of course, let us know what you think about the tactics we've discussed today. If you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button like it is your stepsister of battle trapped in a washing machine, and subscribe to never miss an episode. And I just want to say, if you found today's video particularly helpful or informative, then please consider becoming a channel member or Patreon supporter. By supporting the channel, you will not only be helping me create more content, but unlocking loads of perks for yourself, including access to the Mordian Glory Discord server. This is an online community with over 2,000 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We have got channels for army lists, tactics, hobbying, painting, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. And I just want to take a moment to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. You truly are the lifeblood of this channel, and I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without your generous support. And last, but certainly not least, I want to say a personal, special, heartfelt thank you to all of my top tier supporters. These are the War Masters, the people that have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a massive thank you to Bon Vert, Ken Starr, Mark Panconi, Swordfish Trombone, John Stubbs, Nicholas Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Thank you guys. Your ongoing and incredibly generous support makes a huge difference, and I am eternally grateful to each and every single one of you. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching, and of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.